Peak presents
One Side of the Story. North Korean Defense Minister Hyung Yong-chol apparently was vaporized by the laser from Real Genius, the movie. Reports are Jong-un solicited producers of Real Genius requesting the vaporizer from productions. Unfortunately, he was unable to be convinced that the laser was about as real as North Korea's missile program. After examining over 200,000 substances using an algorithm that would pinpoint target molecules for these substances, an anti-tumor agent was discovered. As it turns out, the study determined that cannabis, and cannabis kill cancer cells. With so many people self-medicating with cannabis, we just couldn't have been sure of the empirical evidence, so it's a good thing we have science to back us up. A 13-year-old was recently arrested and detained for throwing Skittles in school. If this keeps up, we're in real trouble when kids start throwing actual food. They're likely not only to be detained, but outright shot down. Police officers across the country have begun to arrest one another for illegal use of steroids. As it turns out, upper management was giving officers daily shots of vitamins. Suspicion grew when female voices in the departments lowered by several octaves and officers began to salute with their left hands in the air. Speaking of law enforcement, recently a mute person was shot for not responding to police when being questioned. This was followed by an internal investigation. Surprisingly, after the police thoroughly investigated themselves, they found themselves not guilty. And on to other news of correspondence with police officers. Jade Helm 15 higher officers report they have been in touch with the law enforcement officers to ensure public safety will be well regarded. And it is a good thing too, since it is well known that law enforcement officers have such a high regard for public safety and well-being. Shockingly, despite the rejuvenating effects of childbirth on the female body and the positive influence on one's career, more and more women are opting not to have children. This comes as a surprise to the Pope, who says these women are selfish. This is despite the rising number of orphan children in the world, as well as widespread starvation due to overpopulation and inefficient distribution of food resources. But hey, who is to say what women do with their own bodies? As crazy as it sounds, it is alleged that the U.S. government and corporate entities were accused of bullying other nations into passing legislation to make cannabis illegal many years ago. I know, shocking. But now, as the U.S. is slow to get the federal ball rolling in terms of profiting off the sudden revelation that people seem to absolutely adore this plant, they're poised last in the race to legalization as Germany, Italy, India, and others take measures to pass legislation making the plant, let's say it again, this plant, this weed, legal. Again. In other news, the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal has been proposed to create manufacturing jobs in the U.S. by outsourcing them to the other countries involved. Thank goodness for workers' unions in Brunei. Oh wait, I was thinking of the unionized workers in the U.S. Now, for the movie review of the day, we're going to take a closer look at Kingsman. Since I'm the one reviewing it, my personal opinion is that I think the villain should have won in the end. I would just like to say thank you to my 5 subscribers who have been so patiently waiting after I bullied them into subscribing to my channel. Thank you, flatmates. As there is so much fantastic material in the news every week to which I can apply equally fantastic satire, I am anticipating much faster turnouts for my videos, especially now that I have finally figured out how to use my iMovie by watching hours and hours of YouTube videos just like this one, except for actually informative. I can now say that I'm still a novice. Thank you for tuning in this week. I hope to have another episode of One Side of the Story out next week, and if it's not One Side of the Story, I hope it will be something equally as amusing. And I look forward to seeing you in the kitchen later. I'll coerce even another person who lives with me to subscribe. Make it look as if I'm gaining a fan base. And that is all for Pastor Peak and One Side of the Story for today. Thanks. Bye.
Go hard!